Announcing the commencement of the first purge.
I want you to change the world, and don't think that this is going to happen peacefully or you can do it alone. We need to kill the rich. You get out there, you use your weapons, and you rip Washington apart. You hunt down the billionaires, the bank bosses, the CEOs, the scumbags, and the liars, the governors, the lobbyists, the senators, because they're all the same, and you hang them.
Just remember all the good the purge does.
Good morning, everyone. It's August 16th, 2018. I'm Eric. No articles in this video. So, when I was young, a child, I was gripped with fear. Fear of getting hurt, fear of dying. And it caused me a great deal of grief. Through most of my childhood and into my teenage years, when I was really young, I almost drowned and died. And I think that was the root of why I was gripped with fear. So throughout a good chunk of my life, I did everything I could to avoid conflict. Everything. And it gave me a sort of a reputation of being soft and weak. And later on, I ended up getting hurt pretty bad. And that really woke me up, being hurt, really facing my mortality. And I went from one extreme to another. I went from avoiding conflict to constantly engaging in conflict. And this was in Flint, Michigan. It's a very dangerous city to live in. If you don't have a gun there and you come across the wrong person, you're going to die. So, the day I got shot, and this was after I was badly injured and I got over my fear of being hurt or my fear of conflict. It wasn't long after 9/11, the summer after. So it was, what, 2002? Summer. And I was moving around 250 to 1,000 pounds a month of weed. And this is back when you can actually make a good living off of it. Nowadays, everybody and their mom sells weed, and it's very tough to make ends meet selling it. Now, anyway. And we had run out of weed. We couldn't get our shipment from Mexico to Michigan. And I was sitting on, around $100,000. And they told me, the people in Mexico told me to try to find something locally. And I looked and looked and looked, and finally I found what I thought was a okay deal. So my buddy Blue, he tells me before I leave, you need to take a gun with you. And I'd already been busted for carrying without a permit. And I was like, no, even though my instincts were telling me, not just telling me, screaming out to me to take a gun with me. But I ignored both my own instincts and my best and closest friend at that time, Blue. We get there, me and the person that set me up is a woman. They were black. We get there to the housing projects. They're in Pontiac, Michigan. It's about 20, 25 miles from Flint. A pretty shitty city too. And I walked through the apartment, the main entrance of the apartment buildings. It was a kind of door that swung back and forth. And when I walked inside the doors, the two individuals were waiting for me. The guy on my left, as soon as he saw me, he began to pull a gun. The guy on my right didn't have one. Well, I grabbed the guy on my left and shoved him through that swinging door. We flipped over a rail, and I began beating the fuck out of him. And when we flipped the rail, he dropped his weapon. So while I'm beating this guy, and we end up somehow on the sidewalk near the parking lot. And I'm on top of him, and I'm beating him. By the time I was done, he kind of looked like Rocky Dennis. Okay? And that's how badly I beat this guy. But while I was beating him, his buddy was standing behind me, hitting me over the head with his gun. With the guy's gun that I was beating. And finally, I kept ignoring it. I didn't even feel it, right? And finally, he shot me. He went around the front and let one go, and it ripped my scalp up. It didn't penetrate my skull, but it ripped my scalp up. He shot a second time, and it got me right here. It grazed me. It was like a bird. And, you know, at that point, I get off of his buddy, and the backpack with all the money in it is still on my back. I lost like $400 or $500 that day, but there was around $30,000 in that bag. Now, when I got up, I turned to the other guy, and they start to run. And he, for some reason, he ended up dropping his weapon. And I pick it up, and there's a couple rounds left, so I fire at him. And it didn't hit him, because they were moving pretty quickly. And the police were coming. And I didn't know at the time that the person I was with set me up. This came out later on. And so the person that set me up, we jump in my Cadillac, and we go to somebody's house where they start fixing me up and shit. I lost a lot of blood. My seats were leather, a blue, and they were black on my driver's seat, where my blood ran down, and it was really bloody. But really the point of this video is, if your instincts tell you, if they're screaming out at you that something is wrong, the chances are something is very, very wrong, and you should take that shit seriously. You should take it very seriously. I can say without any doubt that every time I've ignored my instincts, I've paid a heavy price for it. For example, last time I got busted for weed. Something kept telling me something was wrong. I could feel it with every fiber of my being, and I ignored it. So I ended up in jail, and with another case, another weed case, and it was all because I ignored my feelings about a certain individual. And this has happened numerous times throughout my life where my instincts were telling me, you know, something is terribly wrong here and you need to take care of it. Every single time. It ended bad for me when I ignored my instincts. Now, on the other hand, every time I have listened to my instincts, things have turned out really, really good. So, you know, you need to give yourself a moment of clarity through the chaos of life. You need to have that moment of silence so you can hear what's going on inside yourself. Had I done this exercise throughout my life, I venture to say I would be much better off than I am now. After getting busted for weed, it's very difficult to find a job. People have this idea that you're some violent drug dealer, but that's not the case. I've never been violent unless somebody made me violent. And so if you have this urge to break the law, to sell marijuana or anything else black market, you really need to get in touch with your instincts. I advise not doing it at all, but if you are, your instincts will save you a lot of heartache if you listen to them. And that same thing could be applied to SHTF. You know, if you're walking down a road after SHTF and something tells you something's wrong ahead, you should probably listen to it. It may save your life. It may save you from being injured. And so, anyway, I thought I would talk to you all about this because listening to your instincts is one of the most important skills you can learn. Hope everyone has a great day. Remember, kill the state before the state kills you.